What is up, guys? It's Steven here from Powell's Power Ups. I have an overview video for Chris. This is a client of mine who reached out and said, hey, Steven from Powell's Power Ups, get me an awesome Krorssguard. So I got you a Sabers Krorssguard replica lightsaber, Kylo Ren's replica lightsaber. These are becoming more and more rare nowadays. As we know, these came out almost a couple years ago now. And finding an empty, uninstalled one is almost like a unicorn thing now. But I found one, I got you one, and this is your overview video. I'm going to talk about everything you need to know about the lightsaber, what to do, what not to do, how to protect your investment, how to handle it, and then a lot of the features that it has. I'm going to talk about how to take it apart, how to put it together, how to put the blades in. I'm going to do a demonstration for you and show you a lot of the things that this is capable of. So sit down, get comfortable. It's going to be a lengthy video, but we're going to get right to it. So when you open up the box, this opens kind of like an iPhone box, by the way. It says, Krorssguard on here, do it yourself, FX prop kit. We got the logos on, I guess it's on the back side here, of KR Sabers and one replicas, right? So once you open it up, on top you are going to have some paperwork. This documentation includes a few different things. The first page is kind of your font layout, your sound font configuration, what all is on here. You have a total of 9 fonts. So this is my custom mix, my custom setup of Kylo Ren sound fonts, okay? And I take them from Kyberphonic Unstable version 1 and 2 and K-Sith's Krorssguard version 5, which are the 2 best Kylo Ren fonts out there. In those font packages, there are several mixes of how the lightsaber sounds from different movies, alternate hums, various ignition sounds, various retraction sounds, clash sounds, different background tracks, different hums and things like that. So to kind of give you everything possible, I have it all laid out here in a descriptive state, kind of telling you what they are. So you have all the fonts laid out in order. It tells you in quotes, as you're cycling through the fonts, you're going to hear different quotes, and then you just match those quotes up with what I have here to know what font you're on. Each of these fonts are from different movies. Some of them have quick staggered blade ignition. Some of them have longer ones. Some of them have simultaneous. Some of them have more aggressive and alternate hums and things like that. So, keep this with you as you're cycling through fonts trying to figure out which one you're on. Also, this saber has force effects. As you trigger a force effect while the lightsaber is on and running, you will get a quote from Kylo Ren. So there's several quotes on here. It just randomly selects them, but the quotes that you get will come from whatever movie that is on. So if you're on font number 2 here, which is from The Force Awakens, all the quotes you hear from that will be Kylo Ren from The Force Awakens. So as you go on to the next couple pages here, we go on to the Crystal Focus X operation instructions. So your lightsaber has a Crystal Focus X. It has been updated with the latest firmware. It has all my custom blade styles and blade colors on here, which I'll demonstrate later, and a few other cool features. But this paperwork goes over how to operate the lightsaber. So this is your 2-button instructions. You have an activation, or sometimes called a power button, and then you have an auxiliary button, and then it tells you what all those buttons do. And then it goes over on the next couple pages various other functions that it has. And then once you get to the last page right here, it has all 32 of my blade styles, so I have names for them along with descriptions for what they are. So inside of each of those sound fonts, you'll be able to, oh crap, I gotta make sure I put these in the right order. I'll make sure I do. You'll be able to pick a color for that sound font, which I'll probably set them all up on red, and you'll be able to pick a blade style. There's several unstable blade styles that you can choose from. You can pick your favorite one, whichever one you think looks best. Let me put these all back in order here. Also stab, colors, stab, there we go. So there's your paperwork. Keep it handy as you go. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at your lightsaber. So when you pull this foam up out of the way, you'll see all your contents inside of your box. Now, I got this lightsaber secondhand from someone off of the Krorssguard group on Facebook. It was up for sale It was never installed, it was empty, but it was already painted by the Proplicator. He is a painter and an installer, and I think he does some props and things like that. He has a store on Etsy. But anyway, he did the paint job on this. This is kind of the Last Jedi, kind of a clean paint job, not so much weathering on this one. It's just a very clean look, kind of an all black. But you do have real heat stained steel emitters. Okay, we have painted engines in there. They're kind of a silver color. Okay, you got your screen accurate blue wire I've got glued in place for you. Your red wire on this one I have going into the actual engine. You can see it in there, okay, to make it more realistic. These are your buttons. You have an auxiliary button on the bottom and a power or activation button on top, okay. Here's the bottom. You got a belt clip, which I don't believe is functional on this saber. Here's your lower engine, which is also painted kind of a silver color. It's got a little bit of weathering on it just to kind of give it some character and some depth. Got the red anodized pommel on the bottom. Very, very clean saber. Super clean. Looks great. Let's see here. Also, inside of the emitters, I will have your blade plugs already. You can see there. Now these blade plugs, this is the version 1 Krorssguard. The version 1 Krorssguard had actual metal bottoms, which you would normally not be able to use in a Neopixel lightsaber because the pin connectors for the blades, if they touch this metal, the positives and negatives would cause a short and fry your electronics. So I take off the bottoms and I 3D printed clear bottoms and glued them on. So underneath those clear bottoms, you have stock version 3 NPXL connectors, and once I put a battery in later, you'll see your blade plugs will actually illuminate. The Neopixel connectors will shine through those blade plugs for a really cool look. So before I open it up, I'll show you what's also in the box. On the left side here is your Nightcore charger. It's a portable USB charger. This is for charging your lithium-ion battery. This is the only charger I recommend using, okay? It's brand new in the box, sealed, ready to go. And then over here you have your actual lithium-ion battery, okay? This is from the Custom Saber Shop. This is the big boy 21700 lithium-ion battery, 5000 milliamp runtime, max 15 amp continuous discharge. So those amps are going to be able to give us our nice, beautiful white effects. Like our blasters and lightning blocks and things like that. Also over here you have a little Ziploc baggie with 2 Allen wrenches. The smaller silver Allen wrench is for your blade retention screws. There's little set screws that hold your blades in. And then the bigger black one is for the, there's one button head screw on the back side here that assembles the hilt that you'll need to take out for disassembly and put back in for assembly. So that's what the 2 Allen wrenches are for. And then you have your actual unstable side blades in here. These are designed by me. These are printed with a material called TPU. It's kind of like a rubber plastic hybrid. So these are kind of flexible and they're pretty durable. They're printed with a clear color, so they're nice and bright and shiny. And they have Neopixel LEDs inside of them, the miniature ones, the 35 size. Custom Saber Shop blade connectors on the bottom there. And then your main blade is actually right there. I got a couple of them sitting here. You got a 36-inch long main blade with an unstable base sleeve on the bottom. I'll put in the blade towards the end of this video when I do the demonstration, but I got a little dust cap for you on there. You can just peel that off. So you got your Custom Saber Shop connector on there, and then the unstable base sleeve kind of gives it some flair and an unstable look that helps match the side blades. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is 36-inch long Neopixel blade. I'll do the demo with that after we put the hilt together and we get the battery inside. All right, so let's take the hilt apart. So always keep in mind, this lightsaber was super expensive. It is definitely a collector's item and not a toy, okay? I definitely don't recommend any kind of dueling or playing around with it. Yes, you can put a blade in, turn it on, swing it around, show the friends and family, be proud of your Kylo Ren lightsaber, but I would definitely not recommend, being too rough or too hard on it. It is definitely a collector's item. It is a shelf queen, and it is a you know, a movie prop replica. It's really awesome. I really like it. So, all right. So with that being said, let's open it up. Now, there are 3 button head screws around the hilt. Okay, you have 2 on the sides here, and then you have 1 right here underneath this button actuator. This set screw here, this button head screw, is the only one that you take out. Never ever, never ever, never ever take out the 2 on the sides. These 2 right here, never ever take them out under any circumstance. They help hold the internal components in place and together. So the engine in here and the chassis that's on the inside that I'm going to show you, there's a ring in there that holds all that together as one solid unit, so you can never take out the side ones. The only one you ever take out is this one right here. You can tell by the way I'm instructing you on that people have done it before. Anyway, so this one right here is the only one you take out. You're going to take it all the way out, okay? Now, that allows you to kind of twist and unlock the hilt, but before you do, you need to unclip your red wire. So there's a cut in the red wire right here, and you could just pull it out of the clip. This top part right here that goes into the engine, into this clip, that is glued in place, so you never have to worry about that. As you're taking apart and putting the hilt together, you're just going to tuck in and untuck this red wire here. But anyways, without further ado, we can twist, right, like this to unlock, and then you can slide it apart, and you can see the J-hook system right there. This is another reason why you can't take out these side button head screws, because they work with this J-lock system here. So when you put it together, you go all the way up and you twist to lock. When you take it apart, you untwist there and then you pull apart. So as you pull apart, understand that this bottom piece here is basically just a big shell. It's just a big pretty shell for looks, not really any functionality to it, just comes apart. Inside of that, you may have seen this just fall out. This is a 3D printed 100% infill density. This is a resonance chamber. This just drops down and sits inside the bottom of the handle, and it works to sit over the speaker, okay, to help kind of improve the sound quality and the depth, you know, by working as a resonance chamber at the bottom of the speaker. So you'd be surprised, this little 3D printed piece here can make a big difference. So that just goes tucked inside of the hilt, and you can set the handle aside over here in the box. Now, when you are handling this lightsaber, once you've taken it apart, you'll notice I'm holding on to the metal part of the hilt. I'm holding on to the solid metal part. You don't ever want to handle the lightsaber by the plastic chassis like so. I've done lots of things to modify this chassis to make it have really good structural integrity, but still you just want to play it safe and just always handle it by the metal part up here. This chassis is 3D printed with Hatchbox PLA. It was black, and then I apply some metallic copper paint onto it, okay, like a darker copper, just to kind of give it that rustic Star Wars look. So we got a 28 millimeter the speaker on the bottom from the Saber Merchant. This is their premium speaker. It's the 2-watt 8 ohm speaker. I like using the 8 ohms lately because they don't blow as much, and the 8 ohms don't have a lot of distortion and clipping in them. They have lots of clarity and they sound really good. So I haven't had a single problem with any of these speakers yet. They sound amazing, especially with the resonance chamber. On the bottom side here, this is your battery compartment. You'll see tabs, metal tabs. Up here is the positive tab, okay, little button head, and the bottom side here is the spring side. This is the negative side. So as you're putting in your battery, you're always going to look at your label and make sure you're putting this in correctly. You do not want to put it in backwards because you can possibly damage your electronics if you do so. So always look at the negative side of the label, which is the flat side of the battery, and that's always going to go against the spring, much like a AA battery inside of like a television remote or something like that. So again, holding the lightsaber by the metal part, I'm just going to push the bottom of this downward against that spring, just like so. And I'm just going to push down against that spring and then push the positive end. And I push the positive end in. Same thing when I take it out, I just push down against that spring and take out. I'm going to do it a couple times just to show you how easy it is. See, it's not super hard. And I'm not putting a lot of force on the chassis as I do so. I'm just holding on to the metal part of the lightsaber, just pushing down against that spring. So as you can tell, once we put the battery in, the Crystal Focus X plays a boot sound just so that you know that the soundboard is now on and running. So there is your Crystal Focus X. It sits inside the chassis opposite of the battery compartment, which you can see underneath it here. You can see some of the wires going to it. But the board stays nice and secure. It doesn't move. It just stays inside of the chassis here. You never need to move it for any reason. Just as an added layer of protection, I add what's called liquid electrical tape over some of the electrical components and solder joints that might be a little more exposed than others wherever I wire in different things. So I put that on there as an added layer of protection. And then over here from the top view, we have what I call a wire cover, just to kind of cover up the wires that come from the negative end of the battery terminal and the speaker. So that's just a 3D printed piece with the first order logo on it, also with some copper paint on top of it. Once you put the battery in, you'll see, there's ugly wires. So that's why I kind of come up with the wire cover, which is a really tight fit, but you just kind of press it into that chassis space there. Now, you could lift it up like so, or just take it out completely if you ever want to access your SD card to add new fonts, or if you want to hook up to the RICE program with your micro USB port right here. Always be careful as you're, taking out the SD card or plugging into the port. You always want to do it with an in and out direction. You never want to lift up and possibly rip off that micro USB port. I know that's something I've seen people do sometimes. So we're going to put the wire cover back in here. Like I said, you just put it in one side, and then you just press it down inside the other. And then you just kind of lift it till it's level for a nice clean look. We got the kind of the light panel design down the side here, kind of like we see on the Imperial starships. And there we go. So like I said, you have stock version 3 NPXL connectors. So whenever you fire this up, the emitters will illuminate light through those shine-through blade plugs. I'm going to actually take them out just to kind of show you what one of them looks like. So by the way, while I'm doing this, your set screws, you'll see there's a pair of set screws underneath each emitter. Now, the outer set screw is for the blade or blade plug. You can use that one. Never ever mess with the inner set screw. That one holds the blade connector PCB holder in place. Okay, so you never want to mess with those. Those just stay there. So I loosened up this screw here so that I could take out the blade plug. This is what the 3D printed bottom looks like. It is just glued on using E6000, which is kind of like an industrial grade adhesive that I use. It's only printed at like 10 or 20% infill so that light can shine through it. It's clear printed, 3D printed, and then I just glued it onto the bottom of these metal blade plugs. But I made them clear so that these connectors shine through. So that's your stock version 3 NPXL connector. They connect to your Neopixel blades. Each one of them has 16 LEDs. And as you can see, they are super bright. They look amazing. And then like I said, these are plastic bottoms, so it's totally okay to just drop that inside of there. And then you use the set screw to hold it in place. So I do not recommend ever playing with this while it is apart. The lightsaber is in a very delicate state while it's apart. Like I talked about earlier, you never want to handle it by the chassis. Once you get the battery in and you've showed off the chassis to your friends and you want to start playing with it and showing it off, then I recommend putting it back together so that it is safe to handle. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We're going to make sure that resonance chamber is down inside of the handle. Then we're going to line up the chassis, slide it down inside of the hilt gently, and we're going to line up those red wires and that J-hook system right there. Slide it up, twist it over, and then we're going to get that set screw that we took out in the beginning right here, and we're going to screw it all the way in. Okay, and that is going to secure the two halves of our lightsaber together and make it structurally sound. It's going to make it strong and together. Now you can swing this lightsaber around and you can feel comfortable knowing that it's not going to break. So you just take your red wire and tuck it in once you get that screw all the way in there. So with Crystal Focus X, you also have a new feature that they have in the latest firmware. You have motion controls for both ignition and retraction of your blades. I have it set up to do twist on and twist off. So I'm gonna go ahead and demo that for you. All you do is twist back and forth like you're revving up a motorcycle. So twist on, twist off. Or you can use your power buttons. Your auxiliary does a lot of your other features. But yeah, you can twist on and you can twist off. So now I'm going to go over the portion where we put in the blades. I'm going to show you how to do that, and then I'm going to turn the camera and do a demo. I'm going to start with the side blades. So the side blades, I just like to turn the lightsaber upside down. I like to turn the lightsaber on just so I know I got a good connection to make sure they're lighting up. Okay. Now the reason why I see if they're lighting up, it's hard to tell on camera, but with the naked eye, you can see a little bit where the LED strip is. There is foam wrapped around them, but you can only get so much because this is such a small, skinny side blade. So you can see a little bit where the LED strip is. So to make that visually appealing, I like to turn the lightsaber on, and I like to face those strips down and up, because most of the time when you're looking at the lightsaber, you're looking at it from the side and you won't see it from the side. But if you face them down and up, it looks a little bit better. But honestly, you might not even notice what I'm talking about. A lot of people don't. I've just been doing this a long time, so I can tell. So you're just going to apply a little bit of pressure. When you're putting these in, you're only going to apply inward pressure against the spring-loaded pins that are on those connectors. Never ever want to twist, because you don't want to bend over those little spring-loaded pins. All you do is push against them. So if you are going to line up those LEDs, push in, see where you are, take out, twist, and then go back in. Once you got it where you want, use your fingers to kind of hold it against those spring-loaded pins as you use your other hand to tighten down the set screws for the side blades. They don't need to be super tight, just enough to hold the blade from coming out. So I'm going to turn the camera now, and then I'll put in the main blade and do a demonstration. This is your 36-inch long Neopixel lightsaber blade. This is the unstable TPU printed. You can see it's squishy, plastic, durable material. Same thing as your side blades, but it's just a base sleeve that goes onto the bottom of the lightsaber. It hugs pretty good, but you can still move it. But it won't slide as you're swinging the blade around. It just kind of adds to the unstable Kylo Ren blade look to kind of help give it some flair at the base, kind of like what we see on the side blades, so that fiery, unstable look. And then your blade will actually have effects that give it an unstable look too, but this kind of helps with matching the side blades. So again, like we talked about with the side blades, you're only ever going to put them straight in. The main blade only goes straight in. You never ever want to twist. So you're just going to hold it. I like to just hold it against myself. Just push all the way down against those pins. Get your little Allen wrench right here. There's a set screw on the side. And you're just going to tighten that down. You want a nice snug press into the blade, but you don't want to go so tight that you strip out that hole, because it is a small set screw. It doesn't really take much to hold the blade in. Once you get it in, you can just take your sleeve and then you can just slide it down like so, and that will kind of hold it in place. I'm gonna pause and kill these lights. Right, so this is your Neopixel Kylo Ren lightsaber. This is my favorite, I think most screen accurate blade style. The effects you see here is for unstable Kylo Ren. Looks pretty good. Do a couple ignition and retractions. We have that nice fast kick on with that white flare. The slow retraction with the fade out. You got the hum sounds, obviously. We got smooth swing. As you swing harder, you have the accent swings or swing sounds. If you have the room and you can do it, you also have spin sounds. You can hear two in there. Woo, 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 woo. So you have those. You have clashing. The clashing works best just by taking your other hand and bumping your handle just to take care of your lightsaber and not damage anything. So use your other hand, and you can just bump your handle. Sorry, I hit a button. So we hear those clash sounds. We get the flashes on the blade. Now you can hold your auxiliary button and you can do a lockup effect, which is also responsive. You can increase the size or make it smaller by twisting your handle, and you can change the angle. You can change the angle of your blade to change its location. So it's pretty small right now. I'll make it bigger. See? Now I'll go small again, and then I can move it. Up the blade, towards the hilt, or up towards the tip. So you have that. You have blaster deflection just by tapping your auxiliary button, which is very responsive. I love that about the CFX. You can hit this thing a lot and really fast. Basically as fast as you can hit the button. You also have a stab effect, so you can stab into an object and you get a stab effect like that. That door right there is a little soft. And then you also have the force effects like I was telling you about. So with just a light swing and holding on the aux button, you get to trigger a force effect, from which we'll hear a quote from Kylo Ren. So you have various quotes, comes from different movies. It depends on what font you're on. You also have a mode called Spectrum that you can initiate by twisting your hilt and holding the auxiliary button. That will allow you to work through the color wheel and change colors. So there's 32 colors on here. They pretty much start with red right here, and you have the whole rainbow. You have orange, yellow, gold. You have the greens. And then you go into the cyans, the teals, the turquoises, the light blue, baby blue, sky blue, regular blues. And then you have the purples and the violets and the pinks and the magentas. Now all of those have white effects. You'll see later when we change blade effects that some of your blade effects have an alternate color in them, like an effect color is what we call that. All of these base colors have white effects, but then when you get to the, there's 3 right here, red, green, and blue. When you get to that red, green, and blue, those 3 colors have black effects, and those look really good with the wave styles and a few other different things. But the paperwork I have there will explain all of that to you, and it even has notes about everything that I'm talking about here. And then you have several shades of white, or just different brightnesses. So you have like a 33%, 66%, and then like 100% white effect. And then you even have a black blade, which has only white effects. So we'll keep with the red for now. Then you can go into the blade profiles I've been talking about. Oops, sorry. So you have spectrum, and then you have blade profiles. So from here you can rotate around, and you can get different different effects on your blade. Blade profiles is what we call these. So like here's some waves, fast waves, reverse waves. It's a swing bright blade. You have a fire blade here. Soren's Eye from Lord of the Rings. This is like another fire blade. This is a Jedi Fallen Order. Here's like another Kylo Ren blade. Here's like a Knight Rider blade. Split Unstable blade. There's like a sizzling, unstable blade. You got a rainbow blade, Death Star beam, split blade, so you can do two-tone colors if you want. And then there's like various flickers and other things like that. Different kinds of pulses and energy unstables like this you see here is like an energy blade for like those electro staff sabers. Just some advanced flickers. But anyway, those are just, you know, some quick showings. The paperwork will go in depth and tell you notes about which each one of those are and how you can further customize this stuff. But last thing is you also have some background tracks on here. So just by holding the power button while the blade is retracted, you can activate background tracks. So this is where we get that theme music from the movies for like Kylo Ren, right? You can also activate the saber and it will function normally once you get a track going. You can pause it just by double tapping your power. You can restart it again by double tapping the power. If you want to go to the next track, retract that blade, hold down the power button for a long hold, and you'll start a new track. If you want to go to the next one, same thing, long hold. And there's various different background tracks. Be careful. So that is your full lightsaber overview. Don't worry about your blade, it's fine. This is polycarbonate, super strong stuff. My light's probably broke though. I'm gonna have to check that. I've actually had a history of breaking my light bulbs. Anyways, the lightsaber is done, man. I'm gonna get this video uploaded and sent to you for your review, after which I will get this boxed up and shipped out to you. So I'll be reaching out soon to give you the link to this video and getting your shipping address. Thank you for choosing me to get a Krorssguard from. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you show it off to everybody and spread the good word about me and my love for installing Krorssguards. Thank you for choosing me again, and may the Force be with you.